Hello again, everyone. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. Here again to this time discuss the tops and bottoms in music of the year 1984. I'm Robert Fithin, along with Mike from Hub Tunes, Richard from Calvin Wazoo, and ladies and gentlemen, will one of his favorite albums still be Tonight from David Bowie? You know, that came out in 1984. We'll have to find out.
It
It's
did.
Craig from
It
Craig's Vinyl
did.
Plethora.
Well, it probably is. So I'm kicking things off, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So 1984, I graduated from high school in 1984. Um, it was a fun year, from what I remember. I don't, I don't remember a lot. That seems like a very, very long time ago. But I remember I was so into music. I was buying, CDs were really starting to take off. Um, I was still buying a lot of records, and cassettes were always, like I said, in the car and, in our boom boxes at the beach and stuff. So music was everywhere. It was all around me, every house party. I grew up in the north suburbs of Chicago, so I am the John Hughes Pretty in Pink party goer. That was my high school, was a John Hughes movie. So there was all this great music and movies and on TV. I just remember music being everywhere. And so I pulled about 15 records. I got for tops, and then I got some bottoms that are I'll probably get yelled at in the comments, but I don't care. Um, couple of honorable mentions. I don't normally do. I guess I do. I don't know. But a couple of records I thought I owned and I couldn't find, or they're back there somewhere. New Sensation by Lou Reed, a album that was completely panned by everybody. I actually like it. It's got "I Love You, Suzanne" on it. I think it's got some really good songs on it. Catchy. It wasn't great. "How Will the Wolf Survive" by Los Lobos, a great, great record. I know it's here somewhere. I just can't
I
find it.
thought I had it too, but I don't.
Yeah, it's here. I thought I had the MoFi of it actually, but I don't. Um, and then what was the other one? There was Simple Minds, the Sparkle album that had some hits on it. They were huge, huge in 1984. I'm a huge Simple Minds fan. I love all their '70s stuff, all the way up to when they got famous, and even now they're still making pretty decent records. So those are a couple of honorable mentions, and I'll just start going here. Um, the Stranglers, um, Oral Sculpture, pretty cool record. Interesting, not their best, but man, I love the Stranglers, especially their early stuff. This is pretty cool though. It's got some good stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good record. What else? Peter Wolf went solo. Lead
Oh
singer of the
yeah, right.
Jay Giles band, and I was super bummed when he left the Jay Giles band. I love the Jay Giles band, and
Yeah.
at this point they were probably a joke, a punchline to a joke with all their hits with Freeze Frame and Centerfold and everything. But I love Jay Giles band. I think that I love the Freeze Frame album. He goes solo with Lights Out. It's basically a weak Jay Giles band record, but it's got some good moments on it. I think the song "Crazy," Poor Girl's Heart," um, the title track's okay. It was good effort.
I always confused. There was a keyboard player with Frank Zappa called Peter Wolf, and I always thought,
Uh,
"Oh, Peter Wolf started that," but no, no, it was a different Peter Wolf.
this is a great record. This was a cool band. I don't know how many records they made. This might be their only one, but this is "All Fall Down" by the '77s. This is just a
Hmm.
punk band.
Mhm.
They're kind of in the vein of maybe Romeo Void, a little less poppy. Um, Really, really cool band. I bought this album years and years ago, and I've never seen anyone talk about it or anything. It's a fun post punk record. It's really good. I'm trying to keep everything organized because I'm going out of town tomorrow, so I want to be able to put everything right back before I leave. Uh, the Dream Syndicate, huge back then. They're still together, making great records. Their last two records have been their best records of their careers. But this is Medicine Show. This is really, really good. They're kind of a dream poppy, but almost before they're kind of like a shoegaze band, but before shoegaze was even around. Um,
Mhm.
I love the Dream Syndicate. Great, great band, and like I said, their last two albums, best of their careers, and they've been around for 30 something years. This is Shriekback. I've talked about them a couple of times. I like this band. This is The Infinite. Cool.
Huh.
Cool album cover artwork.
Oh, that's fancy.
They're a cool band, post-punk, a little bit artsy, really cool, interesting band. I was not into them in 1980. I discovered them just about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. This is not a good album, but I like a couple of the songs on it. This could be on the bottoms list. But this is the Kinks' Word of Mouth. This is the Kinks are done at this point. There's a couple of decent songs on here. I can't remember what they are though. Do It Again. Do It Again was the big single. It's not very good. It probably could be on the bottoms list. This is interesting. This is oops, shit, now I'm making a mess. This is an album that this is like a greatest, I guess it's a compilation because it's not really a greatest hits, but this is the Chocolate Watch Band. They released this compilation. It's a psych band from the 60s. Really, really good band. Somebody actually told me a lot of these songs they re-recorded for this comp. I could be wrong on that, but this is a great psych record. It's a comp, but it was released in 1984. Really, really cool stuff. I don't know if I ever showed this, but excellent band.
And do we know what they were in the movie Riot on Sunset Strip.
Yes, they
in
were.
1967, yeah. And I'm also familiar with what the phrase "chocolate watch band" means.
I'm not.
Not
Is
sure
that from?
It's from trying to find something. What's that called? A search?
Like a strip search?
Yeah.
Oh.
A body cavity search. That's what
No, there you
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that was right.
They'll give you the chocolate watch band.
That's kind of what I assumed it was.
Like a crystal wristwatch.
I don't know what a crystal
This is a terrific album. Elf.
Crisco, not
Alison Moyet.
Oh.
The wonderful Alison Moyet, gorgeous voice. We reviewed. Which album did we review? Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when she was with Yes.
So
we all
ago.
agreed
We
that she
reviewed
made
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Alf. Good record. Really good record for her. Her voice on here is absolutely gorgeous. What else? One of my favorite albums of the year, Susie and the Banshees Hyena. This is the one with Dear Prudence on it. I love this record. Did she do any bad records? They're all so good. When I went to pull this out, I was like, just like pulling out all her records, and she was on a roll, an absolute roll. This is just a high point too. I love this. I remember when this came out. For some reason, we kind of thought it was a letdown after the previous album, which was I don't remember the name. But this is Mirror Moves, Psychedelic Furs. But in retrospect, this is a good record. It's poppier than what we were kind of expecting, and but it's got some good stuff on it. It's got some really good songs. I think Heaven's on here, Ghost in You, Here Come the Cowboys, Heartbeat is on here. It's a really good record. But I remember at the time, a lot of us were really let down. It felt more poppy than we wanted. We wanted them to do more of the post-punk sound.
That kind of seemed to be a theme in 1984, where a lot of the more new wave people and more punk people started going more mainstream pop.
Well, at that
1984
point,
was their pop album, you know.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, Psychedelic Furs were at the peak of their career. I mean, with Pretty in Pink had been out, and they were just huge. So, yeah, it's still a good record. It's pretty decent. It's probably their biggest selling record too, I would guess. Love My Way was the one that I brain farted on, that's such a great record. Tones on Tail, the album Pop came out. This is members of Bauhaus and who else? Love and Rockets and multiple bands. Excellent record. If you're a fan of Love and Rockets, you'll absolutely love this record. It is awesome. This came out, and another album that when it came out, people were kind of like, it's all right. But looking back on this era, because I've kind of gone back, I was a huge Rush fan, and this is what's it called? Grace Under Pressure. Grace Under Pressure. Great artwork. It followed up Signals, and everyone was a little disappointed with Signals, and then they were a little disappointed with this, and then the next one everyone hated. I think was
Hold Your Fire.
No, the one before that. The one with Big Money and I forget what's it called? Power Windows.
Yeah, Power Windows.
Power Windows. That everyone hated that, but I actually I've been looking back at this period of Rush. I've actually been playing a bunch of those records, and this isn't as bad as I remember. This is actually pretty good. Distant Early Warning was the first single. Sure, it's no Tom Sawyer, but it's pretty good. After Image was great. Enemies Within, The Body Electric, Kid Gloves. This is a pretty decent record. I really enjoyed it when I was spinning it this week. We got one of the best albums of the year. This is The Swing, In Excess. It's one of my favorite bands of the 80s. I just loved In Excess so much. I didn't think they made a bad record. Some people panned the last couple, but I thought they were a top-notch band all the way through. Loved In Excess. And another band I really liked, they only had the one big album here in the U.S., but this is the follow-up, and it's pretty good. It's this Big Country, Steel Town. I really liked Big Country. I loved the guitar work, and I thought his vocals were really, really good. Obviously not as good as the big one, the blue cover.
Right.
The Crossing?
The Crossing, yeah. That's a great record. This is really good, too. Really, really good. I love his vocals. He passed away about, it's probably been 10 years ago now. But yeah, I think he killed himself. Yeah, it was really tragic. Yeah. But Big Country. And my last one, the greatest guitarist I ever saw live, and that is Stevie Ray Vaughan. Couldn't stand the weather. This guy was the fucking greatest. His records are great. If you ever got a chance to see him live, he was absolutely spectacular. Words don't describe. I've never seen a guitarist play like that in my entire life. And couldn't stand the weather. 1984, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
All right, very nice.
Guitars stink.
A lot of variety. So Craig is next with singles of 1984.
Yes.
Craig.
There was so much goodness in 1984. I mean, this here is probably there is one album, because this probably is the greatest album, not only to come out in 1984, but maybe ever. And I feel like I should share it with you, because
I think I know which one you're gonna say.
If it's
I bet you have no idea.
I'm leaving if it's tonight.
Lisa Wachtel, Blair
Warner
from Facts of Life. This is her album, All Because of You.
How is it?
And it's her Christian.
As Robert goes to get it. Look at Robert's
going to get it.
Copy.
But yes. And
Richard, I feel left out.
If I buy four, I can get one free. And it still has the original price tag.
Four, you can get one free.
No, I think if I buy 4 records, I get one free at participating dealers.
Like Brian Artichoke.
But yeah, someone paid $8.53 for this in July of '84.
Was that show even still on the air in '84?
Yeah, that was when it was huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I thought it was earlier.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
You have it too.
You two are sick bastards.
Yeah, it's really
Just
not the
Obey
greatest
is the
album.
song on here where she's just, I just obey, 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 I obey, I just obey, obey, obey. Yeah.
And then the Good Girl song. Oh,
No.
so great. All right, that was really,
And of course,
really
every
nice.
great religious album has to have a song or two, or maybe an album title that's like really. And the one on here is How High, How Deep, How Wide.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics actually say, how deep, how high is this love? How deep, how wide? It's too wide to even measure. It's such a treasure. How deep is this love? How wide
he
is
knows
it?
it better than I do.
And she's
Tell me
talking
this
about
isn't real.
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
And she's of course talking about the love of the Lord.
I need
So she apparently thinks the Lord's pretty long and wide and
deep and just all in there.
Which he's the Lord. He should
he should be
well endowed. I mean, you'd think.
I mean, would hope.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I have a theory as to why there's song titles like that and lyrics like that and album titles like that. It's because there's people like my sister, oldest sister, who will, you're supposed to go, come on, how wide is it? And then they will respond with going, oh, well, that's just your dirty mind. She doesn't mean that. I never thought that. What?
Well, welcome to my dirty mind.
So they can seem more pious and more innocent and clean-minded than you are.
Right.
Oh my! Who would think that that is anything? But who would?
Love for the Lord.
Yeah, right. That's all that means. Because there's way too many of these religious albums with stuff like that on. I feel him deep inside me, and the Lord's going to bend me over the jukebox or whatever. What? Well, he's praying. He's on my knees for the Lord in the bathroom, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or in the
think about
bathhouse,
fucking and get away with it.
Right.
Wow, thank you for
that. You're welcome. It's really not the greatest album of all times, but I didn't feel like it was a bottom.
You didn't?
It is, but I just
because this is so. See, we can talk about this and have fun with it. A bottom is just something that's so bad, it's not even.
Yeah, I have one of those.
And it probably sold a lot.
This is like Plan 9 from Outer Space type of thing. Where...
I don't know that it...
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it sold well.
I had never seen this before.
Did you buy
I saw it at a record show. And
but Plan 9 from Outer Space, that became a cult classic that everybody loves to watch to make fun of. I mean,
right, and that's the same thing as that. People are going to put that on, and how deep and how wide is this love? It's
play them together. I don't know what this thing is you're talking about. 9 from Outer Space or whatever. I don't know what that is.
It's like any kind of movie that's so bad that it's fun to watch.
It's
so amateurish or so poorly put together that it's actually fun. It's not just a boring movie that's horrible.
It's fun bad.
Okay, let's find one and match it up with the Blair Warner album. I can't say her last. Welchel. Welchel.
I think they're both the same emphasis.
Blair Warner.
Welchel.
Okay. Welchel. Okay.
Maybe it would have sold better if it was under Blair Warner.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, but you just look at it. I mean, you probably same reason. It's like, oh, it's Blair Warner. I got to get that. That's why I got it.
I'm going to get the Tootie album next.
I wish she had one. Maybe she did. I don't know. Let's look it up. Anyway, so I have 17 honorable mentions, and then I have a top 15 because there was just so much goodness.
So I will go open the window.
I will try. My honorable mentions I go through pretty quickly. So the Nails, 88 lines about 44 women. I don't know. I used to know most of the words. I don't anymore. But I do not like the ending when he says 88 lines about 44 women. I think the song would have been just better had he never said that. But anyways, then Statler Brothers, Atlanta Blue. Metallica, Fade to Black. Apparently this was their first ballad. That's what I was reading about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great song. I like Sanitarium, Welcome Home Sanitarium a little better, but is that later or earlier?
That's later. That's
later. Yeah. Psychedelic Furs, Ghost in You. The Caterpillar by The Cure. I did not do that well, but that's okay. Lionel was all over. But Hello. And is that not the music video with the blind girl?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where she makes the sculpture.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Such a beautiful story that video is. In excess, I send a message from the greatest movie ever, Dolly Parton with Tennessee Homesick Blues. Rhinestone, greatest movie ever. Yes.
No, 9 to 5 is better than that. Come on now.
It is, but Rhinestone is so terrible. It's the best movie ever.
It's fun bad.
It's a Plan 9 movie.
Yeah, no, it's just bad. It's sad bad.
And Drinkenstein.
It's like, no, Dolly, no. Oh, no. It's one of those movies.
Dolly.
If you don't like Dolly Parton, it's probably a good movie.
Yeah.
Don't like her? Okay.
Yeah, because you can make fun of. If you do like Dolly Parton, to me that's like, oh no.
Well, I still can make fun of it. I mean, This really happened to my Loretta. All right, so then we've got Echo and the Bunnymen with the Killing Moon, Duran Duran, Duran Duran the Reflex, Howard Jones, What Is Love, Apollonia 6 with Sex Shooter.
Come on, Kiss the Gun.
That's so good. You know, I couldn't find anywhere. I'm sure it's on YouTube or whatever. And I have the 12-inch single. I was just too lazy to grab it. But only thing I could find streaming of that is the Prince version.
Yeah, it's available as a bonus video on the 2-disc Purple Rain DVD.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they got those dance. Come on, kiss the gun. The dance moves.
Oh, I'm gonna find that video and I'm gonna learn those dance moves.
Yeah,
and I'll prepare them
for next week.
Yes. Then we have Alphaville with Big in Japan. Bronski Beat, Small Town Boy. Culture Club with the war song. War's stupid and people are stupid and that's
stupid.
not a happy song.
I like that. I like that song.
I love it.
We'll talk more about it coming up.
Oh boy.
A lot later.
Okay. Scorpions, Rock You Like a Hurricane. And my last honorable mention is the Stranglers with No Mercy. I like that song. It's very, very nice.
I do too.
All right. So number 15. We're getting into good stuff now. Okay. I think you guys will think this is a good list. I don't know. I don't care.
You always
All
have
right,
a good even though I often don't know any of the songs you mentioned.
I know. It's what I do. All right. Romeo Void with A Girl in Trouble is a temporary thing. Temporary. Go-Go's, Head Over Heels. Their last single, and probably one of my favorite songs of theirs, ABBA with The Day Before You Came. And there's not an episode of Dallas she hasn't seen, and she smoked her 15th cigarette today. I just love the story. It's very... I don't know that is it a good song? I mean, I think it's great.
I've never heard it.
There's not much.
I don't know.
It's pretty rare. The album that it was on, it was a new song on the album, ABBA the Singles album.
Yes.
Which is a double album of all their singles, and it had 2 new singles on it, and that was one of them. The other one was called Under Attack.
Yeah, Under Attack. And I think that those were originally supposed to be for an album, and then they decided not to do another album after Arrival. Number 12, Susie and the Banshees with Dazzle. And such a gorgeous song. And and that also is when Robert was in the band, so not Fifth and Smith. That was a good time with Susie and the Banshees. Well, all the time was good with Susie and the Banshees, but Dazzle, absolutely gorgeous song. Number 11, one of my absolute favorites of hers, Miss Tina Turner, You Better Be Good to Me, because why can't you be good to me? Number 10, Prince, When Doves Cry. I Die For You is also released that year, right? Well, pretty much everything off of Purple Rain was released as singles, but I don't know. I love both. Maybe that's a tie. Number 9, Ultravox with Dancing with Tears in My Eyes. What a good song that is.
Yeah.
Has anyone danced with tears in their eyes?
I don't know if anybody has, but maybe I have. You know what? I'm going to say that I have. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to say that I have, just because. Shut up. All right. Number 8, Depeche Mode with Blasphemous Rumors. That's up there on my list for me as favorite Depeche Mode songs. Number 7, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, Talking Loud and Clear.
Yeah.
That's definitely my top 5 favorite. Number 6, Thompson Twins, You Take Me Up. You take me up to the higher ground. I love that song's just so happy.
I don't remember that one.
It's not very good.
Most people probably. I don't think it was a big hit, but it was.
You take me up so high, now I never want to come back down.
So good. All right, number 5. They're so sweet, sweet peas. Rat with round and round. What goes around comes around. I tell you why. I just love that song, and I just love Rat.
I met them.
If you don't mind. I've met them.
Yeah, I've met
Yeah,
them
I met
too.
them. I met them at a
Oh, you
record
met them
signing for
too?
that. I had to interview
Oh.
them for the school newspaper.
Well, I
They
didn't know
were-
that.
Yeah, they were men of very few words.
Oh, I don't even know if it
They
was like
were high as
half of-
kites and no idea where they were.
Well, I met them like in the late 90s, and I don't think that they were high when I met them. So,
Oh, well, that's good.
number
Probably taking
4.
recovery medication.
Maybe. All right. Eurythmics, Sex Crime, 1984.
Oh,
What is that face for, Robert Fithin?
I remember I was so confused when that came out. I was like, what the hell is this?
I love that song. I think it's so great. Here Comes the Rain Again also came out, which is also fantastic. But I'm sticking to my Sex Crime. Huh? All right, number 3. Yes, shit. Okay, there we have it. All right, number 3, Ministry. Every Day is Halloween. Bop, bop, bop. Number 2. Oh, so good. Killing Joke with 80s.
mm-hmm.
80s. Oh, so good.
I need to
And
get some
remember-
Killing Joke. I need to explore
That
that.
whole record is
I have
fantastic.
some.
I've got a sealed Killing Joke from 1994. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I've had it all these years. Never opened it. Got it from college. Wonder what it's worth. Pandemonium, I think it's called. Anyway,
Their stuff is pretty up there,
Yeah,
especially if it's an original.
Yeah,
And
there's
I
a single
yeah,
that I
it's
have
90s.
in my
Yeah.
want list, and the only place that's for sale is over in Europe. And well, it's not a single; it's an EP. It's a 12-inch EP.
And number 1 for me for 1984, The Smiths with Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. And there you have it.
Wow!
all right. So we
My
have
top
albums,
5
singles,
billion.
Yeah.
and
All
now
right.
more albums with Richard.
And some news. 1984, there was a lot of films that came out that were music oriented.
Mhm.
So you had Purple Rain was one. Amadeus was released in 1984. The Cotton Club, remember the Cotton Club? That was 1984. Footloose was 1984.
Oh, yeah.
Streets of Fire, that was that Rick Springfield kind of thing,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
No,
Or
Hard to
Richard-
Hold was the Rick
Richard
Springfield
Martin.
thing.
Yeah, hard to hold.
Streets of Fire was the rock and roll fable with Diane Lane.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I don't
Those
know
are
that.
the Rick
Yeah.
I
Springfield.
Can Dream
did.
About You was the song from that.
I can dream.
What was the Rick Springfield film?
Hard to Hold, and I
Hard
still
to Hold.
remember Record Magazine. If people remember
Yeah.
Record Magazine from the 80s, and the
I used to buy it.
headline, Hard to Hold is hard to watch. I don't know why I
Oh.
still
It
remember
was.
that.
It was hard to watch. I
It was.
remember watching it.
Good review.
So, but perhaps one of the greatest classics of all time was in 1984, and that was Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. Was released in 1984.
There's a
that movie.
sequel coming out next year.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
for
trying
God's
to.
sake.
Sequels
I
always
just-
suck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
just
it-
saw
But
something
Rob
about that.
Reiner's directing it.
Yeah, and I think
Okay,
it's all
all
the
right.
original.
Yeah, Fran Drescher's back.
people.
They're all back.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah,
see
so
how it goes.
It has possibilities.
Yeah.
I've never seen the first one, so
Oh, watch the first one. Oh,
Brilliant.
yeah, I love it,
Absolutely
man.
brilliant.
But this one goes to 11.
Yeah, the
Oh,
DVD,
they made a
the
comment.
Criterion Collection DVD had like an hour and a half of outtakes, and they could have made a whole other movie right there just on those
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
outtakes.
In the news, speaking of 11, January 11, that was when BBC Radio, a DJ, Mike Reed, announced that they are not going to play Frankie Goes to Hollywood Relax because of the lyrics. And then the BBC placed a total ban on the record right about that same time.
Huh,
But
really?
then, January 21st, Relax hit number 1 in the UK singles chart despite the ban, and it spent 42 weeks in the
Yeah, that
top
was
40.
huge.
Yeah, definitely huge. And they kept playing dance versions of it well into the 90s,
Yeah.
wrapped into the 2000s.
What's that album called?
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Yeah, it's a good record. The whole thing is pretty. Isn't it a double?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a double record. It's pretty good.
It's pretty weird. I mean, it has really long
Yeah.
songs, short songs.
Yeah.
It has a cover of Born to Run, if I remember correctly, and
I think you're right.
it's all over the place.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Also in January, that's when Michael Jackson's hair got on fire during a Pepsi commercial, burned his scalp. And that was also about the same time that he released a single for the title track from Thriller. Let's see, the Grammys achieved the highest ratings ever on February 28th, and it's not been matched since. So there it is. February 28th, 1984. The Grammys are at their peak, and it's been downhill ever since.
I think they really were, though. I mean, I think that's at a time when the visual of music and people wanted to see people like Michael Jackson, and everybody was so new and exciting. And at this point, I mean, who cared? And who's cared for the last 25 years? I mean, who cares?
Nobody really. April 1st, it was not an April Fool. It was Marvin Gaye being shot and killed by his father during an argument. When Doves Cry, it's my birthday. That was the week of my birthday. On July 9th, it was the #1 song, When Doves Cry by Prince, and it spent 5 weeks at #1. You know what the song was that bumped it off as #1? Ghostbusters.
Oh, who are you going to call?
No.
God.
Ray Parker Jr. sued because of that song by Huey Lewis.
Yes.
Oh, Ghostbusters?
It sounded too much like I Want a New Drug.
Yeah, it definitely.
And it really kind of does.
Oh.
September 21st. I did not know this, but the first compact disc manufacturing plant in North America opened in Terre Haute. So before that, all CDs were being expensively imported from Japan and West Germany. And it is believed, I think, the first U.S. produced CD was Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. So that was the first CD that was ever made in the U.S. according.
Yeah. CBS used to make a big deal on the back, and it would say "Now made in the USA." You know,
I remember that.
CBS CDs.
And then sometime in December, Tipper Gore forms the Parents Music Resource Center, the PMRC, in response to the filth that she heard on her daughter's copy of an album. And you know what record album it was?
Purple Rain.
Yes, Purple Rain.
It was Purple Rain.
Which was about as tame as a Prince album as there was since his second one.
Yeah.
If she would have heard the last song on Controversy, or like part of side 2 of Dirty Mind, or Let's Pretend We're Married from 1999, or Automatic from 1999, she would have probably just exploded. But she heard Darling Nikki from Purple Rain, where he says masturbating. That was the word.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, really?
Yeah. All right.
You know, Al divorced her. They're not married anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, they've been divorced.
I don't think that did anything for his
Yeah.
political aspirations
No,
either.
it did not help him at all.
No.
Yeah, they've been divorced quite a while. Maybe 20 years, 15, 20 years.
I can remember during those Senate hearings when Frank Zappa was appearing and Al Gore was talking about, I like your records, you know. And then some other guy asked him, I wonder what kind of toys your children play with. And Frank says, well, come on over at the house and I'll show you. Anyway, speaking of Frank Zappa, my honorable mentions is this one here, Them or Us. This is a pretty good, really good solos on here. Overall, it's a very good album, right before probably the worst album he ever released. Came shortly after this. But I do like this. In fact, I was listening to it earlier today. Solid solos on there. There's a couple moments of lameness going on, but a lot of it is very good. Great cover of Whipping Post from the Allman Brothers. Other honorable mention, Dead Can Dance debut. Really good one there.
Did you say Dead Kennedys?
Dead Can Dance.
Dead Can Dance. Yeah. Okay.
That's great.
I need to enunciate. Apparently, a couple of times when I've spoken, people think I'm saying something completely different. Acid Bath by Alien Sex Fiend.
Oh, Alien Sex Fiend.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool reissue on the splatter vinyl. Pretty wild, bugaboo eyes on the label. This nice, crazy synth pop. And speaking of, this is another good one from there. The Age of Consent. I'm still looking for Small Town Boy single. I want a 12-inch single. I still haven't found one. Guitar Slinger by Johnny Winter.
Yeah.
He had a couple of really good albums in the 80s, and this was one of them. Saw him in a bar perform in a bar in the 1980s. Then Ryuichi Sakamoto. This is the album Music Book. I am just obsessed with Ryuichi Sakamoto right now. I've been acquiring, I still don't have any Yellow Magic Orchestra, but I really been diving into his catalog. So amazing. His electronic music, his piano music, the other compositions. I'd love to get the soundtracks for Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and also for Kundan, but I never see them in the stores.
Is his stuff getting expensive now that he's passed away? Because he just passed away.
I don't know. There are some special pressings. Like I got his last recording, which is the one. It's kind of like what David Bowie did with Black Star. He just before he died, he would go into the studio, and then he would play these improvisations on the piano. And the recording is so live, you can hear his labored breathing, but they're very beautiful piano pieces. And it's the last thing that he ever did. Now, you can still get that for $25, $30, but there is a rare special pressing of it that's already going for $300.
Yeah.
So,
because after he passed away, I was going to actually dig in and try and get a few things, and I was like, I'm probably just going to pay inflated pricing.
I picked up quite a few after.
That's good. Maybe I'll look into it.
That that are still pretty reasonable. His earlier material is probably going to start going up. That's why I don't have any Yellow Magic Orchestra, and so I'm.
That's the stuff I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's. Yeah. Bruce Coburn, the Stealing Fire.
I remember
came
that.
out in '84.
Oh
Great
God.
album. If I had a
haven't
rocket
thought of
launcher,
that album in decades.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then final one. We talked about this in a previous episode about the violent film, Hallowed Ground. But now for my top 10. So, starting with this one, and I gave it a listen this week. I wasn't sure if I was going to include it, but this is a really good record. This is the Staples Singers, Turning Point. This is really, really good. They do
funky.
a great, very funky.
It's very funky.
It's
not gospel.
No gospel, no soul. It's a very funky album. They do a cover of Slippery People, and David Byrne plays guitar on it with them.
She still plays that live. She does it live.
Yeah.
It's great. She's so funny.
I find it kind of ironic that they sing that song. But anyway, it's a really good one. I listened to other albums that I wanted to put in that number 10 spot, but this one held up against the others. The debut, Butthole Surfers. I mean, Paul Leary on guitar is just freaking amazing anyway, and all the records, and Gibby Haynes. This is at the beginning, so you can understand most of what he's saying and singing. He hasn't quite turned into a complete nut job, but just really amazing music. I did not know that for a while he lived with Timothy Leary and willingly was a experimental subject.
No, don't do that. That explains things. That explains a lot.
Then R.E.M.
Yeah.
Reckoning, their album. Really, I got lucky with this one because I got the translucent purple vinyl. They had a couple translucent purple pressings, but I got one of them. Number 7, Purple Rain from Prince of the Revolution. This is, it's just all the way through from start to finish. Really, really good. I'd like to probably get a different pressing because I'm not sure. This one sounds a little.
My pressing is not good.
Yeah,
maybe we have the same one. I think mine was an anniversary reissue from a few years ago or something.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Too.
I never play it. It's just a placeholder at this point.
And I don't play it much either because it has this kind of. I don't want to. It's kind of a cross between scratchy sound and almost being shrill. You really have to play around with the levels, and I don't like having to do that with records. All right, number 6, Ali Farka Touré, or Red. He's like the godfather or grandfather. I've heard him called both.
Grandfather at this point.
Saharan Blues. Really, really excellent album. He's just.
What record label is that on? What's that Obi say? Oh, I thought it said it on the Obi. Never mind.
World. No, it does, but it's still small. It's World Circuit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
World Circuit label. So
I have a couple records with that Obi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reissue, but and I think his son, Vieux Farka Touré, I think I saw him sitting on the side stage by the green room when I saw Abdul Mukhtar this past weekend.
And he's in Chicago this week, isn't he? Or next week?
Right, next week.
What?
Yeah. Yep, gonna go to that for sure. Number 5. Now we're in the top 5. Couldn't Stand the Weather with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Excellent record. Before his next record was not all that great.
Yeah, that's his last great record.
Yeah,
the next couple are okay. They're good.
They're okay. They're good. Yeah,
but that thing is like
spectacular. It is. I mean, is this the one that you've got Cold Shot and Tin Pan Alley, but it's got his Voodoo Child.
Voodoo Child
on here. He's. Talk about crazy and what he can do with the guitar. He's absolutely amazing. Okay, number 4, Red Sails at Sunset, Midnight Oil. Really?
Is that 84?
That's a 1984, yeah.
God, I can't believe I didn't pull that.
Excellent album.
Wow.
Not the one I listened to
really
the
good
most.
album.
Yeah,
but it's a really good album.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. And then, of course, we did a show about the Pretenders, and this was released so this is my number 3, Learning to Crawl. Not much else to say about that. We got it covered, so y'all need to go check out that video if you didn't see it. Number 2, I remember when I first heard this, I was in my truck driving up to this place called 10,000 Waves, a Japanese hot tub and spa in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I'm getting in the parking lot and I'm listening to NPR, and they're playing, it's one of these music shows. And they start playing this record, and I'm going like, who is this? It's one of those moments where you sit in the car and listen to it all the way through. You don't get out. I don't have it on vinyl, but Diamond Light, Sade. It's like, wow. It just really blew me away. I still love listening to this album. It gets into my rotation probably at least once every 2 to 3 weeks. I want to listen to this. Such an amazing. And then I have her other releases too on CD, but this is the one I keep going back to. It's just such an amazing record. And then my number one, again, I have it on CD because I just prefer to have it on CD, and that's the soundtrack "Stop Making Sense" from Talking Heads. Just I just love the versions. They're true to the studio sound in a way, but they have that special live quality that the band gives them, so that it's just amazing all the way through, and it's pretty much in the order of their performance. The songs are ordered, and but all the great ones on there, and of course, the classic ones like Life During Wartime. It's got the interlude where they do the couple Tom Tom Club. They've got Genius of Love. But yeah, man, just Swamp and Flippy Floppy and they're all so good. Slippery People again. So there you go. Those are my tops for 1984.
All right, 1984, I turned 12 years old, and this was the first full year that I was making it a point to be into current pop music. I started in the summer of '83. I talked about this before, listening to the radio for new music and doing the countdowns and writing down all the songs and putting little stars next to rating stars next to the ones I liked.
I did the same thing. I'd go to the record store, and they'd always have the top 10. Like they had a list on the counter by the register. Every week I would grab it and I'd go through it and I'd star shit. I was crazy weird.
Yeah, well, I did the same thing. I would listen to the top 40 and write them all down. But it was great to go to the record store or the record department, really, of Kmart or something like that. And instead of what I used to do is just, go right to the Beatles or whatever, or right to some oldies act that was, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was nice to be able to see all the new releases, and know what they were. And be excited about those. And 1984 was the first full year of that for me. And everybody else is going to the beach, like Mike said. It was all about music videos and waiting for Friday night and Friday night videos to come on, which, by the way, made its debut in 1983 last week. That was when it debuted. And I still remember I was there for the very first episode of that. We also had a local show that came on Saturday nights that played videos as well. But yeah, music videos.
Damn,
and
40 years
like
ago.
Richard said, all the movie. I saw Purple Rain, first R-rated movie I ever saw at the theater, and I was just totally into it. And so a lot of the albums that Mike showed, I found out about later on, like the Susie and the Banshees and Los Lobos and things like that. And a lot of the singles that Craig talked about, like Scorpions, Lionel Richie, Eurythmics, those were all from 1983 albums. So they're great, but I don't have those on my list because the albums were actually from 1983. So my top 10, and I had some honorable mentions, but Mike's already talked about a lot of them because they were the ones that I knew about later on. Because I was listening to pop radio, and that was it. So, and music videos. But the only exception in my top 10 is this one from Bronski Beat that Richard showed, The Age of Consent. I didn't know about this until like the early 90s. But I just thought that Small Town Boy was such a daring thing to come out with. It was never played in the United States. That's why I didn't know about it. But, pink triangles everywhere. The inner sleeve, if you have the original, actually gives the age of consent for homosexual sex in another huge pink triangle in all of the states in the U.S. and then gives the hotline numbers or whatever. But that's pressing.
That's all.
Yeah, Jimmy Somerville's voice. I always said it takes some real balls to sing like that.
Yeah.
And the singing style was called castrato. I just always thought that was that pretty much says it all. But just really blew me away the first time I heard that. But going back to being 12 years old and, finding all this great new music and hearing all of it. Number 9, The Cars and Heartbeat City. This is, like I was talking about before, sort of a new wave, band with a lot of sense going full on pop by this time. And I had not heard all that stuff. I think I had heard Let's Go because it was on a K-Tel album. But other than that, this was my introduction to the Cars. So I thought they were just this pop band with all these really cool music videos, like you might think, with all the effects, magic where he's walking across the pool, and this album was almost like a Greatest Hits Volume 2. You know, the first one is like Greatest Hits, and this is the Volume 2 of that. There's so many singles on here. Drive is on here. The one that they wouldn't show on MTV that Andy Warhol was involved in, Hello Again, with the nudity.
Hello Again.
I thought this was a great album. Produced by Robert John Mutt Lange. I didn't know that until later on. So that's my number 9. Number 8, Tina Turner makes a huge comeback. I love the story of her comeback with this, you know, just going out on her own, showing that she can do it herself, and then being bigger than ever, you know, with this. Winner of 4 Grammy Awards. But yeah, Private Dancer, Let's Stay Together, the remake was the first single, didn't do a lot, and then it really took off with What's Love Got to Do with It. That's an okay song. It's obviously more of an adult contemporary type thing, but like Craig said, the big one on here is Better Be Good to Me, especially the album version. That's a little bit longer with the cowbell. Don't need more cowbell than that. You've got plenty. Let's see, number 7, I think we're at now, is Born in the USA from Bruce Springsteen. Again, we're going with 12-year-old me.
Oh,
and my eyes just being, really
we
open with this.
We saw what you saw.
Yeah, I mean...
I heard the record and realized that's not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's great all the way through. It is, though. I mean, it's him going full-on commercial. Born in the USA is a great song. I still love that song. Cover Me is just a great rock song. Darlington County, he gets a little bit hokey. You know, he's from New Jersey, and he's doing that, I want to go down to Darlington County. You know,
I always liked Pink Cadillac, and I was disappointed that he didn't release it on the album.
Yeah, it's the B-side of...
it's a B-side of...
Born in the USA or Dance in the Dark. Dance in the Dark is still great. I know people don't like that. Yeah. I thought that song was great.
It is.
But yeah, I'm Going Down. I love that song too, you know. I'm On Fire. I just think that there's just a lot. It's all hits. It's like another Greatest Hits type thing. It's all singles. Number 6, I didn't know about this until 88. And that's The Cure, The Top, one of my favorite Cure albums. It gets panned. People don't like it because it's basically a lot of studio music. It's not really The Cure. It's like Robert Smith and hired guns. But I love he's so frantic on this. He's so like, you know, instead of being like morose and kind of, oh, life is terrible. He's really just kind of, you know. Songs, Give Me It is one of those that are like that. But is this the one with man, I can't even read the Caterpillar, like Craig was saying.
Yeah.
Flowing in and filling up my hopeless heart. There's another great one on here, but yeah, it's a lot of good stuff on there.
So good.
But him just being more like disheveled and
well, that's got Shake Dog Shake, Dressing Up, Banana Fishbones. Like it really is a good album.
Up and see what there we go. Now I can read those. It's the one Canada's addressing. I guess it was Give Me It. Piggy in the Mirror. But yeah, The Cure, The Top. So we're up to the top 5. Number 5, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now we've talked about this 3 times, but again, mine's smaller than everybody else's. Mike's was huge. Richard's was somewhere in the middle. Mike's was very thick.
I don't have one.
Yeah, Craig doesn't even have one.
Mine's invisible.
Mine's almost pocket size. But yeah, this is Cold Shot, and everything on here is great. I'm not a big fan of, as some people are, of his Voodoo Child, just because I always wanted to play the Jimi Hendrix Experiences version on the radio, and you'd always go, "Oh no, play the Stevie Ray Vaughan." Yeah. Fucking A. It's like, I want to play the fucking Jimi Hendrix. Anyway, going back to what we were talking about before, there's that I was talking about, now made in the USA.
Oh, yeah.
Proudly proclaimed. But yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan, I couldn't stand the weather. I mean, what more can you say? Just outstanding guitar work. I actually like,
might be his
Step
best
after
album.
that?
In Step.
I like In Step too. I think it's a little more...
Texas Flood is after that, isn't it?
No, Texas Flood is the first one.
First one
is the first one.
In Step comes later.
This is the second, and then In Step is the next one.
Yeah, that's what I said. In Step is the next one, and it's kind of a little more laid back and whatever, but I still like that one.
It's got a great
cover. That's when he's in his depths of his...
alcoholism?
No, that's more like what's the one with Dan's little sister on it? That's the one where the bottom falls out.
The one with the white cover.
Oh, I don't remember, but
But
yeah.
I think Couldn't Stand the Weather is his best album. I like Texas
Yeah,
Love.
probably.
It's great, but, and we're, nitpicking here, but I would say Couldn't Stand the Weather is the best.
I didn't hear this until like probably 87, but still heard it in the 80s. Ride the Lightning from Metallica, number 4. Like Craig said, Fade to Black on here, a song that probably would be, you wouldn't even be able to get that on YouTube today. I mean, yikes, a suicide song like that?
Soul was the third one.
Yeah.
What was?
Soul to Soul.
Soul to Soul was the one after. That's the one where the bottom
Yeah.
that's the 85 one where it's like, you don't want that one.
Okay.
Ride the Lightning, the title track. For Whom the Bell Tolls is the big kind of marching kind of rock song where dung, 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 that kind of thing. But yeah, Creeping Death, Trapped Under Ice, all those, heavy metal, kind of speed metal classics. Right there on that album. Number 3, this is the album that you were cool if you listened to this and you were 12 years old. You were kind of cool with the cool baby smoking. Van Halen, 1984. This has so many fun songs on here. Again, I had never heard a Van Halen album before this one. And so the second Van Halen album I heard was Van Halen 2. I didn't get Van Halen until like the third tape. But of course, a lot of these, I didn't have any of these albums in 1984. They were all cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
And then mostly what I did was get
cassettes were huge, and cassettes were cheaper.
Cassette. This one, let's see, The Cars, Tina Turner, Bruce Springsteen, the 2 that are coming up next. This one, all of them I had on cassette first.
Yeah.
Got the CD, and now within the last just few years, maybe 5 or 6 years, got the album, got the vinyl. So, but yeah, I remember getting this and. On cassette and at an actual record store and walking up there to the counter with it, and my sister was with me, and a different sister, not the Lisa Welchel story sister. But anyway, walking up to the counter and the guy's like, "That's a cool tape, little buddy."
Little buddy,
little man or little whatever. Yeah, that was. I thought I was the shit. But yeah, Jump is a song that other people, my sister even liked that. It was called pop metal, but that's a fun song, I guess. But I really love the album tracks on here. Like Drop Dead Legs is probably my favorite song on here. And
best song on the record.
Yeah, Panama is okay, and Hot for Teacher with that ridiculous drum intro. But yeah, just balls to the wall, as it were. That's number 3. Number 2, we've talked about before. Richard mentioned it briefly. The Pretenders, Middle of the Road. Had this on cassette, played it over and over again. Again, my first foray into who the Pretenders were. I heard Middle of the Road, had to have it. Of course, Back on the Chain Gang was probably one of my favorite songs at the time, too. Show Me is like one of the best love songs ever. My City Was Gone is a great commentary about, the homogenization of towns and, here come the malls and everything. Little did she know, or did they know, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. 2,000 Miles. I usually don't like Christmas type mentioning songs on albums, but at least it's last. It's not like in the middle of a side like that latest ABBA album where they decide to put Christmas like in the middle of the side. But yeah, great.
So you can skip it.
Great album all the way through. It's number 2. Obviously, I'm really into that, and it turned out to be my favorite Pretenders album. No spoiler alert there for the video if you're going to watch that. But number 1. I mean, I probably listened to this. There's a thread going around about, your top most listened to albums.
Yeah.
And aside from the Beatles, which they had so many albums, I probably didn't listen to a single one of their albums more than I listened to this one. So I probably listened to this album more than any other album ever. With maybe the exception of an Elvis comp that I used to listen to when I was 3. Prince
I got
of the
a
Revolution,
bug on my mirror. Sorry.
Purple Rain. Wore this cassette out. Another one where I went from cassette, CD, redone CD,
right? I
two disc
these
CD
on cassette too. Yeah.
And then the album finally, a Target exclusive. This one sounds pretty good. I don't have a problem with the way this sounds. It's a purple vinyl and it's from Target.
I should brag. I'll grab that because mine's from like 5 or 6 years ago.
This is too. This is probably the same type of. It's got the foil here instead of white. It's the same.
Yeah.
Same era that the 2-disc one and with the B-sides and all that. But yeah, Let's Go Crazy and And I found out later on, when he passed away, and I started listening to this again over and over again. The Beautiful Ones is probably now my favorite song on here.
So good.
But yeah, Baby I'm a Star, the album tracks, I mean, there's not a bad song on here. None of this is skippable. None of it. And each song seems to have its own identity. You've got Let's Go Crazy, which is just a full-on rock song. I mean, that's a rock. So there's that guitar solo. There's rock songs from heavy metal bands that don't have a guitar solo that shredding in there. That's a rock song. Take Me With You is a full-on pop song. It's a fun little pop ditty. The Beautiful Ones is just a masterpiece of passion. Computer Blues, where it gets weird. It's kind of a weird song. It's kind of a sexually strange. Darling Nikki is the dirty song. When Doves Cry is the big hit single, and the bouncy kind of thing going on there. I Would Die For You is just kind of a love song that's kind of a quick little song. Baby I'm a Star is just an energetic rave up kind of thing, where it's just like so much energy and so you will just crank that up. And then Purple Rain, the big ballad at the end. I mean, it's every song is so different. I love it. I kind of, I had that in 1999 at the same time, and listened to 1999 a lot. But, that's a double album, the danceable kind of 8-minute long songs. Here it's real tight and real, it's just a perfect album. I don't know. If I had, this is probably, outside of something from like the Beatles or so, this is my favorite album of the 80s. I can say that without hesitation. So yeah, Purple Rain from Prince and the Revolution, definitely my number one.
Not this?
No, but that's number 69 or something.
Oh, 69 is divine.
Because how deep and how wide. I mean, there's no deep and how wide on here. He just full on says she was masturbating with a magazine. We're not beating around the bush. We're putting magazines in the bush. I mean, good God, that leads. And by the way, if you want to hear how deep and how wide, I did a video about bad album covers and then the songs from them. I play a sample of How Deep, How Wide in that video, so you can check that out if we're promoting our own channels.
Oh, I need to go back. I don't know that I've seen that. How long ago was that?
It's been about a year or so. It's the one where it's like bad album. It's not the offensive album covers. It's the bad album covers and what the music sounds like or how the songs sound. Okay. It's got the one with the Gary guy on there, like this, and it's got the Julie's Birthday with but I play song samples so you can actually see how the album, or you can hear how the albums sound. But yeah, those are my top 10 albums of 1984. Like I said, a lot of them through the 12-year-old's eyes. If I was a 30-year-old and heard Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, and I was already familiar with Born to Run and Asbury, I probably wouldn't have thought as highly of that. Or the same way with the Cars. I probably would have thought, oh my God, these guys sold out. Because it's like we were talking about. All these bands, like the Cars and whatever, that had more of a new wave kind of thing. They all went right to the middle of the road in 1984. And trying to get on MTV. Talking Heads kind of, similar. And
that song by Chrissie Hynde on that Pretenders album about the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Oops.
Where did you go?
Mike doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
He turned the lights off.
Mike was going to talk about his bottoms, and it turned into a black.
I just got a phone call. So we're really, yeah. So as I said earlier, and I think we've all kind of said, music was everywhere. I mean, it was on the radio, it was in the car, it was at the beach, it was in the movies, like Richard just previewed. It was everywhere, which I also think, we all have friends. There's no good music these days. Music sucks these days. It's because it's not in our faces every time we turn around. Every time in 1984, you turned on the TV, there was MTV. You go into movies, there's movies. It was everywhere. And I just, and I think that's what that's what they expect. That's how they learned music, when they were 12 to, 20 years old in the 80s, music was everywhere. It's not anymore. You have to search it out. It's still everywhere, but you just have to go looking for it.
And there's still good music out there.
There's great new bands. There's great new music every year. You just got to look for it.
But with the movies too, it wasn't even music movies. Only like Purple Rain and Footloose and Street. It was just any movie.
Everything,
You know, like the
everything.
Breakfast
All
Club
the John,
and
all the John Hughes movies.
yeah,
had great
Ghostbusters
soundtracks.
and whatever.
80s.
Nobody would have known Simple Minds if
Right.
Yeah.
that song was not in a John Hughes movie.
And
I knew
movies
them,
that had nothing
but-
to do with music, they'd have to have basically a music video in the middle of it as a montage to show well, we've got to fix this house up, okay, and then they'd be painting the house and putting down the reupholstering, and it's basically a music video, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Elvira.
with that
dark.
we learned about a lot of good music. We
Mhm.
also had a lot of bad music.
No.
Oh boy, I probably this is probably the most bottoms I've ever had. You can keep 1984 by Van Halen. I thought it was the biggest sellout of all time. The only thing that saves 1984 is Eddie fucking Van Halen. He's one of the greatest guitarists of all time. But that jump is horrible. Drop Dead Legs, by far the best song. Hot for Teacher. You know what? It just doesn't hold up either. Go back and listen to that record. Hot for Teacher. Come on. It's I don't know. I'll wait. That. Ugh.
Oh yeah, the keyboards.
When it came out, and man, I definitely didn't like it. Now, Jethro Tull had an album called Under Wraps. You can imagine how bad that was. Rod Stewart. Yeah, exactly. Rod Stewart, Camouflage. I believe Jeff Beck sat in on a bunch of songs on that record, and that was the big selling point. Was he's back with Jeff Beck?
Yeah.
The songs suck though.
Yeah.
I like that single Infatuation. That had a cool
Infatuation.
And then there was another one too.
Some guys have all the luck.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Some guys
I like Infatuation.
Yeah, God, now I remember that. Oh.
Sorry. Devo released an album called Shout. No one remembers that one.
No.
Stephen Stills did Right by You. Terrible. Elton John, Breaking Hearts, one of his worst albums. The Jacksons reformed for Victory. That was horrible.
Victory. Oh, there's some good stuff on there, and isn't the State of Shock on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about
Pat
that coming
Benatar
up.
released her worst album of her career, Tropico. Billy Squier, his career pretty much ended after Signs of Life. I had Born in the USA on this list.
Everybody wants you's not on Signs of Life, and that's first of all, it's a great song. It's awesome. And second
That's
of all, Rock Me Tonight is the single on Signs of. I think these albums all have great singles, and they just don't.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that 1984 is a singles year, with the exception of like Purple Rain and The Pretender and the ones it's singles. We Belong, I think, is okay from Pat Benatar. The rest of that album's not good at all. Billy Squier, Rock Me Tonight is okay. The video is not, but the rest of the album is terrible. And the same thing with Breaking Hearts, Elton John. Sad songs say so much. It's a fun kind of whatever. The rest of the album, terrible.
Great video.
There might be one other song, I think. Is In Neon. I think In Neon is on Breaking Hearts. That's okay. But the rest of the album is just a throwaway. It's like you need two, and I'm sure that I have never heard the Rod Stewart, but I'm sure that's the Infatuation's fun.
Way. Yeah, it's the same.
And then the rest of it's throwaway.
Yeah. Don Henley did Building the Perfect Beast. That was a huge album too.
Oh, Boys of Summer.
Everywhere.
Awesome.
Everywhere.
That's a great
I love
song.
that song. And then the rest of the album is just kind of meh.
Yeah. And it's so popular. David Bowie's Tonight. And
again, Blue Jeans. I love Blue Jean, but the rest of that album.
The song Tonight is fantastic with Tina.
Oh my God, no!
I
Loving the
love
Alien
that
is kind
song.
of there. It's okay, but the rest of that album. But Blue Jean.
I love that song with Tina.
Is it?
I don't even like that. And the worst of the worst, the biggest of the bottoms, the Footloose soundtrack.
Oh, it's good.
No,
That
I wouldn't
crap.
agree with
Oh
that.
my God, that was
No,
awful.
it's so good.
Holding Out for a Hero is the top. Is the highlight there.
Dancing in the Sheets, Shalimar.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah, there's some pretty great songs on that. So
I mean, not Almost Paradise. I can skip Almost Paradise.
Yeah,
let's hear it from the Boys. Is kind of it's a song like your mom or your sister likes dancing around the kitchen. It brings the family together type of song. Footloose, same way.
Everybody got a cut.
Again, I think you have to be 12.
Yeah,
You got to be 12 for Footloose.
Yeah,
Saw that in the theater too.
Yep. So
A movie about illegal dancing.
Yeah.
Fuck.
They and they
it won't be long. That'll be coming back.
Yeah, really.
My little
Well, that was,
hometown.
right after the Ayatollah in Iran, where they banned music and they banned dancing. So it can't happen here.
And my little hometown theater that they closed down later because they were going to play rated R movies. Seriously, yeah, that's why it closed down. But yeah, they played Footloose there, and you would have thought that it was a rock concert, and girls were screaming, practically throwing their panties at the screen over Kevin Bacon and crying and fainting. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
That's how Purple Rain was for me when I saw that. It was in a different theater. It was a newer theater. Well, it wasn't a new, it was not a new building, but it was a theater that had just opened, and it was only in Granite City for like a year and a half. So it was this time capsule, and it had a balcony because it was an old theater, but they had just opened it as a movie theater. And up in the balcony, when he's singing Purple Rain at the end, I distinctly remember people woo, just like a concert. I mean, it was like being in a concert.
Yeah, I remember they did that when I saw it too. Yeah.
I did not see that in the theater. I didn't see Purple Rain until much later. I know I was in high school, but okay. So the crap of I thought I had more. I thought I was a little more prepared. And so one, I don't know if it's crap, but it's sure great to talk about. But I'm going to start with this probably. Well, let's wait on that one because it is probably really the biggest piece of crap of 1984. But Sammy Hagar's "I Can't Drive 55." I can't. I can't. Sister Christian,
that rules.
Kansas.
That rules. No.
What?
That rules.
Sorry, I just can't. I don't like. I don't know. But I don't like them. So,
no, that's awesome.
Kansas, Sister Christian. Shut up.
Kansas.
I don't.
That's not Kansas. That's,
no, isn't it Kansas?
No,
Sister Christian.
Night Ranger.
Night Ranger. Sorry, I don't know why I wrote Kansas down, but
I agree.
Night Ranger. Sister Christian, shut the fuck up today. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote Kansas. I knew that's not who it was, but thank y'all for correcting me. Did they have a song that year too that sucked?
Kansas? Probably not.
Probably
All I
not.
Wanted? That was 86. I think.
Okay,
Fight Fire with Fire? That was like 83.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Y'all heard it? Curdy and the Boombox? They were like a British girl. They're really strange, but they have a song called "Let's Talk It Over in the Ladies' Room." Just check it out.
What that is?
It's not good. But yeah, that one I just discovered. But I've mentioned it before. I feel like fucking God bless the USA. Just shut the fuck up. I don't.
Wasn't even a top 10 hit.
But it's everywhere, and it's like I am proud to be an American. I don't need to sing about it. I don't need Greenwood to tell me. I don't. What? I'm not very proud of it. Is that what you said?
Yeah. If you don't want to sing out and be like, "I'm proud."
I don't know. I really.
Or at least I know I'm free, except for these things. I can't do these anymore.
Yeah, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. But I am free.
Yeah.
Rebby Jackson also had her song "Centipede," just worth mentioning. But and then
that's great. I love that song. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm not saying lyrics. It's just. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not like I just felt like it needed to be mentioned, but
she's crawling like a centipede.
I mean, the sad thing is that didn't LaToya do like a tad bit better than Rebby except for the song?
I don't know what LaToya's doing, but I know that she.
Well, no, I mean back when he was like releasing. Yeah, no, Centipede is good. I'm just saying it was worth mentioning. Also, Wasp, Animal Fuck Like a Beast. That was like one of the songs on the Filthy 15. Thank you, Tipper. I don't know. It's not that, but okay. So this is an important lesson. An icon brought this to us.
Dear God.
he tells us, what not to do. And, you know, I can, because if you're walking home after school and a man drives up and he's acting real cool, he'll say, "You want some candy? Do you need a ride?" You just say, "No, thank you, sir. I'm doing fine." He might say, "I know your mama, your daddy, real good. And they sent me to pick you up, and I told him I would. But don't you trust a word he has to say, because he's not your family. He ain't your friend. Please be careful." And then the chorus comes in, and the ladies are singing, "And don't talk to strangers, because you never know who you might be talking to." And that was brought to us by the fabulous Mr. T, because he pities a fool that talks to strangers.
That's a good. It sounds like a good song. It sounds like a good song
It
for
is.
kids to hear.
It's telling
That's
me
good.
wonderful things. So this is, again, it's not necessarily like this is a
You
piece
don't
of
like it because you were the
crap
guy
bottom.
in the car and you're like, "Hey, quit fucking
I
with my
was
hustle here.
totally
I'm
trying
trying
to
to pick
get
these
those
kids up."
kids, and especially the fact that I was 11 at the time. I was definitely driving the van, asking people for you want some candy,
Yes.
little girl. But I mean, he tells us more. You don't if someone knocks on the door, don't let them in. You don't, even if they say they know you. Your mom sent me, and he's telling us very valuable lessons. The
Yeah.
ladies, though, that sing the chorus, they're just the best. And to make everyone jealous, not only do I have the 45 of Mr. P, that's his Warner, and it's
I
on
know you got a
Columbia.
Columbia and a Warner sleeve.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know,
hate-
because
oh, it's like
I know. I need to find right. Sorry, and I meant to show the Warner. I got it at a thrift store for like 15 cents, and it's a white label promo. But yeah, Mr. T. I've been wanting to get the full album for like ever. It's almost as great as this one song. But if you've never heard Mr. T, Don't Talk to Strangers, you need to learn all about stranger danger. He's going to teach it to you. And then later, Hulk Hogan taught us to be a Hulkamaniac. So with our
now that's different. Now that's just commercialism.
yeah, that's
all
just
that is.
we want to have fun with our family and friends, but yeah, Mr. T, Don't Talk to Strangers. Again, it's not like terrible, but it's also not good. So it can't be on the best list. It might have been number one. I don't know. Maybe it should have been number one.
A dishonorable mention.
I'm going to listen to that after we're done.
Have you never heard it?
Put that in the playlist. No.
Yeah, that needs to go in the playlist. There might be a video for it. I know that you can definitely listen to it. Wow, I thought for sure you would have heard it before, Mr. Robert Fippen.
No.
Wow, out of anybody here, it definitely would have been you had anybody else heard it. You check it out, y'all. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna thank me.
I vaguely remember it.
You're welcome. Okay,
Never heard it.
you will.
Never heard it. And so this bottom, this is really awful. And I know there's a lot of fans, because I've seen their comments where they say, "Oh, I love this record. This was my first record introduced to him, and I really love it." And I'm thinking, how could you love this piece of shit?
Mm.
It has within it a germ of an idea that could have been good, but it got overwhelmed by laziness. That's what killed this album. Laziness. And that's Frank Zappa's Thingfish.
The fuck?
I've never even
This
seen
is
that.
awful. This is also
He's got the
Frank
double
Zappa.
deluxe.
He's got like that
Yeah,
big
he's got-
ass
yeah,
box.
box
of
set.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Deluxe
Hey,
version.
I'm a Zappa collector, so I,
Well, yeah.
I
I
have
mean,
to
we all
it,
have stuff that we
it's
don't
got the
like.
libretto in here. I mean,
All the outtakes.
He's got a T-shirt, a bumper sticker.
it's the libretto
freshener.
here, and
What the hell is that?
but yeah,
That's
it has
obviously
a
the
germ.
Thingfish.
The Thingfish frightens
I don't
me.
remember this record. Is that the original cover?
Yeah, this is an OG.
Never
release.
seen that. Wow.
And it was a box set, and it was Frank Zappa's like a rock opera. And the original material, is not bad. It might even be pretty good because he has this concept of the mammy nuns, and it's pretty good. But then he dives into this deep conspiracy theory about the origin of AIDS. and goes way out there. And then what he does is he's just recycling songs that he wrote 20 years before, and just put new lyrics to them. So that's where all this, to me, it's just lazy. There's nothing, really original or outstanding. It's boring. It's stupid. It's
Frank Zappa.
Well, yeah, because I'm a completist.
Career Frank Zappa.
I'm going to buy whatever he has released, whether it's good or bad. But this is a major disappointment. And I know that there are Zappa fans who go, oh, I think this is great. You need to listen to a lot more Zappa, and you'll realize just how lazy and reductive this is. Like I say, the Mammy Nun part, you could have done something on a single album with that, and it would have been pretty good. So I do like that. And not Ray White, but what's his name? Yeah, Ike Willis. Ike Willis is the Thing Fish, and but there's a lot of good musicianship on here. Johnny Guitar Watson is on this. The characters, you've got Thing Fish, which is Ike Willis. Harry is Terry Bozzio. Rhonda is Dale Bozzio. The Evil Prince is Napoleon Murphy Brock. He's always fun. Harry as a Boy is Bob Harris. Brown Moses is Johnny Guitar Watson.
That sounds horrible.
And Al Duncan Jane Calhoun is Ray White. So this is the original cast recording.
Wait, Dale, Dale,
but it's in my collection because I'm a completely Frank Zappa.
Missing person.
Okay, so my bottoms for 1984 are singles, because it's a singles year. Like I said, I don't know too many. I don't get enough. I didn't have a lot of time to listen to a lot of albums. I've been really kind of under the weather all week. I'm not feeling well. In a lot of pain. So was not listening to a lot of the albums like I usually do. But I didn't. When I was looking through the singles, I didn't know most of them, even the ones that only went to like number 38. I knew a lot of. I was so meticulously listening to those top 40 countdowns every week and writing down songs and everything. And so I have 9 bottoms. They're all singles. They were all hits. And the very first one, Julio Iglesias teaming up with Willie Nelson for To All the Girls I've Loved Before. That just did not need to happen. Did not.
No,
My
it didn't.
creepy-ass brother-in-law loved it. That made it even worse. Beautiful. First of all, I don't need Willie Nelson sounding sexy. That just never works. It's like Bob Dylan and Lay Lady Lay. I don't need that either. I don't need sexy Bob Dylan. I don't need sexy Willie Nelson. I don't need Julio Iglesias at all. Apparently he's not a very cool person.
Yeah, he's a bag. Yeah, he's a total bag.
Yeah. He did a beautiful song with Dolly.
Not interested in that. Briefly talked about State of Shock, the Jacksons with Mick Jagger. Thriller has just happened. It's just blown up. It's huge. So what's going to be next for Michael Jackson? Well, the Jacksons Victory album. He's a part of that. What's it going to sound like? Well, he's got the worst song on there. Everybody's like, what's the Michael Jackson thing going to be on here? Oh, it's going to be like Thriller or, Beat It or Billie Jean. No, it came off more like... The Girl Is Mine or something. It's this song called I can't even remember what the name of it is.
Yeah, what was it?
It's a real ballad though, and he's just wimpily singing along with this little ballad song, and it's terrible. Be Not Always is what it was called. Oh. And so you've got that, and then you've got him with Mick Jagger singing State of Shock, and it is just terrible. She looks so great every time I see her face. She puts me in a state. State of Shock. Yeah. There was stories about radio stations that played it nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
Would play nothing but that song on repeat for like 2 days in a row. All these publicity stunts. I don't think Victory is that bad of an album. It's just that Michael Jackson's might as well not have been on it. I don't think Torture is that bad. That's the opening track. I don't think Wait is a bad song. That was pretty good, but
Can you feel it on that one, or is that on?
No, that's earlier.
That's earlier, right?
That's
Okay.
Destiny, I think.
Well, State of Shock was originally Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. He was supposed to team up with Freddie
really?
Mercury
Yeah.
and recorded it with him.
Oh,
It
wow.
stayed in a vault. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if
There
he
was
actually
another
re-recorded it with Mick Jagger or they just removed the Freddie Mercury vocal and replaced it with Mick Jagger's.
I'm not sure on. I
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. But the Freddie Mercury one wasn't completed. It was mostly completed, from what I understand, and they did another song too.
Yeah. Love Duran Duran. They were one of the first videos I ever saw with Hungry Like the Wolf, and then Rio and all those tropical videos. And then the next album, like the second week it was out, I had it on cassette with New Moon on Monday and the Reflex, and then the single of the Reflex. And I was really thought Duran Duran was pretty cool. And then they come out with the Wild Boys. And it was just like, wow, that's a free fall. Terrible song. Just one of these wild boys, wild boys. It's just, I'm not into military Duran Duran. I mean, it's just awful. Another song like that, the War song from Culture Club, awful. Another group that was just like, oh my God, these guys are great. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, and Time, and Karma Chameleon, and Miss Me Blind, and all that. And then the new album's out, and it's awful. And that's the first song, and I think mistake number 3, another song about war, it's like, what are you doing singing about war? And stupid lyrics like, war is stupid, and people are you in the 4th grade writing about war? War is a little more complex,
That's culture,
a little more serious to be writing stupid. Yeah, but they don't write songs. Karma Chameleon doesn't have lyrics like that. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me doesn't have lyrics like that. They have kind of oblique lyric. This is just, it sounds like a child wrote it. It's terrible. And it's about war. You can't do that with war. Awful. There was a show similar to like American Idol. I think it was Do You Really Want to Be a Star? Or maybe it was a different one, but
something like that. Yeah.
The winner was a guy named Sam Harris. And he had a song called Sugar Don't Bite.
I never heard of Sugar Don't Bite.
It was awful.
Never heard of Sam Harris.
And I just remember, even being a 12-year-old, I was somehow tuned in enough to know that...
Craig's writing down your bottom.
Because I want to look this up. Put it in the list.
I remember being aware enough somehow, even as a 12-year-old, to go, you're trying to force us this song that no one wants. It was on Entertainment Tonight. They did a story on it. They did a story on it here. They did a story on it there. He's going to be the next big thing. Remember the name Sam Harris and this song, Sugar Don't Bite. Let's hear that Sugar Don't. Oh my God, everybody wants to hear Sugar Don't Bite. The request lines are lighting up. And no one wants to hear this. No one at school is talking about it. It's never on Friday night videos. It's never on the other video show. It's hardly ever on the radio. But every time there's like a feature show, or they're doing like American bands, they've got to do a break and talk about, oh my God, Sam Harris is blowing up with this Sugar Don't Bite song. Sucks. It's horrible, and no, you're lying to us. And I remember being 12 years old, and that's the first time I kind of experienced it. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are in a different reality than what I'm experiencing, because I don't care about this Sugar Don't Bite song. But In Excess, Original Sin, a song that it isn't really the fault of the song itself. It's the memories I have associated with it. And it's somebody, first of all, this song was never on the radio. Somebody had it on a cassette compilation called Dance Tracks that Atlantic put out. And we're playing it on the bus on a band trip. And the band trip also had some of the football players on it, because they were a football team, and the football bus was too big, so some of the football players had to ride on the band bus. And so they brought this, and it says Dream On Black Boy, Dream On Black Girl. Well, they took it as a racist song, saying that black, interracial couples shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be a thing, and they loved it. And the story was, oh my God, well, this is on like a tape. You should hear it on the actual In Excess tape, because they use the N-word, and they really are like, get out of here, N-word. You don't need to be with that white girl. And they beat him up. It's total lies. You know, none of that's
Yeah.
happening on the album. None of that's true. But they just keep building on this story, and they just love it, and it's this great racist song, and woohoo, we all think that, you know, black guys and white women all should be beaten up, and that's the memory I have associated with that song. And that was my
That's
first
awful.
time I ever heard the name NXS. And then, you know, like 2 years later, here's like What You Need, or a year later, here's What You Need, and Falling Down a Mountain, and This Time, and all that. And I'm like, I don't like this band, sucks. Even though these songs are great, I really don't want to like these. And it wasn't until like a year after that I found out, oh, it's okay to like NXS because everything those guys were saying is not even
Wrong and a
it's
lie.
not even true. So it's more of the memory associated with that original Sin song. And that leads us to, again, pandering. I was old enough, for whatever reason, at 12-year-old, to pick up on pandering. You're just pandering to us when 35-year-old Dan Hartman has a song called We Are the Young. And again, it's this marching kind of, we are the young, we're tomorrow, we're breaking down the walls, breaking all the rules, we are the young. Dude, you're 35 years old, you are not the young. Okay, I'm 12, I'm the young, and I'm certainly not breaking down any fucking walls. You're going to get in trouble for that. But yeah, sucks. Breaking down the wall. That's what he followed up the I Can Dream About You song.
He's probably breaking all the tax codes.
Yeah, he's not doing anything these days. But
Dead.
passed away, didn't he? And that's just two more, and it's a tie because it's the same group. And as a 12-year-old, I did not want to hear other little kids singing. Was not into it at all. I would turn the station. I did not like this at all. New Edition, Cool It Now, and New Edition, Mr. Telephone Man. I absolutely hated those songs. It was like Donny Osmond all over again or something. Did not like.
Should not sing.
I do. As a child, I was like, you know what? If it's not going to be me, it's not going to be you motherfuckers either. Get the fuck off my radio or my TV or whatever. Mr. Telephone Man, I get a click what is a click? Is that something a video game does?
Click. And they were clicking, not a
Oh my
click.
god.
It's a click.
Awful.
Every time.
I can't stand to this day. This is how shallow I am. To this day, I can't stand New Edition.
I love them.
Just because I go right back to that 12-year-old going, I don't want to hear little kids. Those kids need to be doing what I'm doing. They need to be sitting there listening to music, not performing it and going out on tours. Who do they think they are? So those are my bottoms of 1984. Good time.
Wow. That was
What a darling bottomless they were.
9 of them. With
Wow.
stories for some of them, and yeah.
Yeah.
Bus
So
rides.
Sam Harris, I saw the album cover and that does look familiar. I still don't think I've ever heard these songs. But apparently that Sugar Don't Bite is so great because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of it on the album. So
I think that's his only song. I think, you know, they spent all their publicity money on that, and then nobody did anything with it, and they said he was going to be bigger than the Beatles. I do remember that because I just
they said
got
that.
out of the Beatles, and you know I was in love with the Beatles and obsessed with the Beatles, and just got away from that. And I remember them saying, I think it was Entertainment Tonight, this guy's going to be bigger than the Beatles.
Well, he released a single in 2020.
Called what? Flower Don't Sneeze. Or
A
something?
broken wing, and he's looking in the mirror, putting makeup on. He's got a powder brush.
so he's alive.
He's in 2020. Oh, there's one from 2021 too. Be Myself. So there you go. I'm so happy I got.
I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy or something.
I'm sure he's
probably
He's
one
wonderful.
of us, but
Yeah.
He got roped
was
into
just-
this record company,
Yeah.
network TV promotion deal, and
it was just
he had nothing to do with it.
It was so phony, and just recognizing that as a 12-year-old, that you guys are just. This is all bull. This guy is not anything. Why do you keep talking about Sam Harris's stupid "Sugar Don't Bite" song? You know, no one likes this. Next.
I find most of that American Idol stuff to be phony.
Oh.
I mean,
sure, yeah, yeah.
There's always a few that break through and do well, but I mean, majority of them don't do anything.
Well, it's like in England on whatever their show is, England Idol. I don't know what it is. They've got X Factor, or whatever that is.
X Factor.
They have a show. They have to have the single is always like without exception. The single is always number one the week of Christmas. Whoever won the show, their single is number one the week of Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, that's the rule. It's like, okay, well then obviously this is just some regimented, promotional thing. This is not a real... Because Rage Against the Machine tried to break that and had everybody downloading Killing in the Name or whatever to try to get...
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, that really just shows you how bullshit all that is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sam Harris is one of us.
Yeah.
I looked him up, and he's Danny.
He's a Guncle?
His husband.
He's whose husband?
Danny Jacobson. They've been together since 1994, and they have a son. There you go. Now we know even more about Sam Harris. And Fithin hates his song. I'm going to listen to it.
Watch, the comments are going to be, I love Sam Harris.
Well, they should love Sam Harris.
And I played it all the time.
It's the best song
and in my
ever.
radio station in Orange Beach, they played it over and over again. It was the biggest hit of the year.
Something
you know what sucks? Prince, Purple Rain.
Well, I don't know. If somebody says that, they might need to go to therapy. But I'm sure somebody feels that about Purple Rain. But
I guess I showed them. And I got in there and I was like, you know what sucks? Purple Rain.
And then I gave him a thumbs down.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say that and I'm going to comment. You know what sucks? Purple Rain. Thumbs down, bitch. Fucking Guncles. I think this might be the episode that I have said fuck the least in ever.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because everything is so joyful and so fun in 1984.
Yeah,
everything is joyful.
I mean,
it was a joyful year.
Your bottoms were even, you were even saying, well, they're not that bad. I actually like them.
Except God Bless the USA. That it's that bad.
It was a joyful time in my life. I mean, it was great. I mean, the mid '80s were probably the high point of my life.
Everything but the AIDS,
except Saturday when
that wasn't.
That wasn't very fun, but
that was not a good time.
So, what year are we doing next?
2015.
2015.
Party's over.
Party's over.
There goes the joyous time. And here come the
fucks. Let's see if we can find any joy in 2015.
Fucks
I need to start feeling better because I've obviously got a lot of music to listen to now. So, and we've also got the Beatles artist ranking coming up, so I don't have to really do a lot of deep diving into the Beatles. I mean, I've heard those albums a few times,
once or twice.
Hopefully you'll join us for that. Once again, we are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Fithin, along with
Richard at Kelvin Wazoo.
It's empty. You need more. You need more. Craig's Vinyl Plethora. Thank you.
Mike at Hubtunes.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you'll join us again next time.
Hopefully.
Ta-ta.
For the Beatles.